The biggest changes in your life will not come from intense bursts of motivation. They will come from boring, invisible, daily consistency that compounds over time. I'm going to show you 5 tiny habits that secretly build or destroy everything you care about. This isn't about morning routines or 30-day challenges. This is about the micro moments that individually mean nothing but collectively mean everything. By the end, you'll have a concrete framework you can use today to identify your unique value and start building the kind of life people respect. And if you stay until the end, I'll reveal the one metric that separates leaders who inspire loyalty from those who just get compliance. Welcome back to Deeper Dudes. But first, let's talk about why most people are spinning their wheels chasing transformation. You see the posts. Wake up at 5 a.m., cold plunge, journal for an hour, crush your goals. And you try it. For a week, maybe 2. Then life happens. You miss a day, then another. And suddenly you're back where you started, feeling like you failed again. Here's what nobody tells you. Intensity is a terrible long-term strategy. The difference between intensity and consistency is the difference between going to the dentist and brushing your teeth. You need the dentist twice a year, sure, but if that's all you do, your teeth fall out. The same principle applies to leadership, relationships, fitness, and personal growth. Research shows that people overestimate what they can accomplish in a day and drastically underestimate what they can accomplish in a year through small, consistent actions. We're wired to chase the dramatic moment because it feels like progress. But real progress is invisible until suddenly it's not. Your partner didn't fall in love with you because you remembered Valentine's Day. That's intensity. They fell in love because of the night you paused the game when they said, "Can I talk to you?" Because you brought them a drink from the fridge without being asked. Because of 1,000 invisible micro moments that individually mean nothing but collectively mean everything. Think about the best relationship in your life right now. It wasn't built on grand gestures. It was built on showing up, listening when it mattered, remembering the small things, being consistent even when you didn't feel like it. And here's where this gets practical. Most men are trying to build a life they're proud of, but they're focused on the wrong things. They're chasing outcomes instead of building systems. They're waiting for motivation instead of designing environments. They're looking for the one big breakthrough instead of stacking tiny wins. But resilience isn't a personality trait. Success isn't luck. A beautiful life is the result of a series of choices so small, they feel insignificant in the moment. And that leads directly into the first habit that changes everything. First, find your why using the friends exercise. This isn't some vague ask yourself deep questions nonsense. This is a concrete process you can do this week. Here's how it works. Sit down with your closest friend, someone who knows you well, and ask them, "Why are we friends?" Watch what happens. They'll struggle. They'll say something surface level like, "You're a good person, I trust you, you make me laugh." That's not your why. That's a label. So you push past it. You ask, "What specifically is it about me, not what I do? What about me makes you feel that way?" And they'll struggle even more because the emotional brain doesn't control language. But keep pushing. Ask them to describe, not you, but how you make them feel. And eventually, if you're patient and genuinely curious, they'll say something that gives you goosebumps. Something like, "You make me feel like I can be myself." Or, "You see things in me I don't see in myself." Or, "When I'm with you, I feel like everything's going to be okay." That's your why. That's the unique value you bring to the world. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Suddenly you understand what people are responding to when they're drawn to you. You understand what to lean into. You understand your edge. I did this exercise 3 years ago and my friend said, "You make me feel like my problems aren't stupid." That hit me like a truck. I realized that my entire life, in every role I've had, the thing people valued most wasn't my advice or my skills. It was that I took their concerns seriously. That became my North Star. Every time I'm making a decision about my work, my relationships, my content, I ask, Does this help people feel like their problems aren't stupid? If yes, I'm on track. If no, I'm drifting. This exercise works because it bypasses your own blind spots. You can't see your why from the inside. You're too close. But the people who love you can see it clearly. And once you know it, you can design your entire life around it. Now here's where most people go wrong. They do this exercise, they get their answer, and then they forget about it. Don't do that. Write it down. Put it somewhere you'll see it. Use it as a filter for decisions. When you're deciding whether to take a job, start a project, invest time in a relationship, ask, does this align with my why? If yes, it's probably worth it. If no, it's probably a distraction. This is how you build a life with intention, instead of just reacting to whatever comes your way. Before we go any further, I want to pause for something important. None of what we've been talking about matters if we don't have the energy and clarity to actually implement it. We all know what it feels like to wake up exhausted. No energy, poor focus, and zero motivation. We also know what it feels like when we get good, restful sleep, targeted therapy, and the right supplements. I've personally tested more things than you can imagine. I'm like your personal guinea pig. Everything I have listed in the description below is science-backed and extensively tested. And if you grab anything through my links, you'll be supporting this channel at zero cost to you. Thanks for taking a look. Now let's get back to it. If this is helping, please hit that like button so more people can find this when they need it most. And drop a comment. Have you ever done the friends exercise? What did you learn about yourself? I'd love to hear your story. Now, once you know your why, the next step is to stop trapping people in narratives. Second, watch the narratives you create about people. We all do this. Someone is late to a meeting twice, and suddenly in your head, they're the unreliable one. Someone pushes back on your idea, and now they're difficult. Someone doesn't respond to your text fast enough, and they're flaky. And once you label someone, you treat them according to that label. You stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. You interpret everything they do through that lens. And here's the brutal part. They feel it. Maybe not consciously, but they feel your energy shift. They feel that you've written them off. And now they're trapped in a story they didn't write and can't escape. Think about a time someone labeled you unfairly. Maybe a boss decided you weren't leadership material. Maybe a parent decided you were the irresponsible one. Maybe a friend decided you were selfish. And no matter what you did, you couldn't shake it. Every action you took was filtered through their narrative. If you tried to prove them wrong, you were overcompensating. If you didn't, you were confirming their bias. That's what you do to others when you're not careful. So here's the system. Replace judgment with curiosity. When someone does something that frustrates you, pause. Don't immediately label them. Ask, what else could be true? Maybe they're not lazy. Maybe they're overwhelmed, undertrained, or dealing with something you don't know about. Maybe they're not negative. Maybe they've been burned before and they're protecting themselves. Maybe they're not annoying. Maybe they're just anxious and don't know how to ask for what they need. I'm not saying let people off the hook. I'm saying give them a chance to show you who they are before you decide who they are. Because the truth is, people rise or fall to the level of your expectations. If you treat someone like they're unreliable, they'll stop trying to be reliable. If you treat someone like they're capable, they'll often surprise you. This connects directly to the next principle, which is about the smallest form of integrity that most people completely overlook. Third, guard micro-integrity ruthlessly. Here's a scenario. You forgot about a meeting. Your assistant calls and says someone's on the line asking for you. You tell them to say you're in another call. Harmless, right? Wrong. You just normalized lying in your environment. You just taught your assistant that small dishonesty is acceptable, and that always scales. If it's okay to lie about the small stuff, it becomes okay to lie about the medium stuff. And eventually, when something big is on the line, lying is just what we do here. Micro-integrity is every small moment where you could take the easy, dishonest path, but you choose the harder, honest one. It's saying I forgot, instead of I was busy. It's admitting I don't know instead of pretending you do. It's owning I messed up instead of blaming circumstances. These moments feel insignificant, but you're not just making a choice in that moment. You're setting the standard for what's acceptable in your environment, And everyone around you is watching. Your kids are watching. Your team is watching. Your partner is watching. And they're learning, this is how we do things here. I watched a leader lose his entire team over micro-integrity violations. None of them were fireable offenses. He'd say he'd read an email he hadn't. He'd tell clients the team was working on something they hadn't started. He'd blame delays on others when he was the bottleneck. Small stuff, but over time, the team stopped trusting him. Not because of one big betrayal, because of 1,000 small ones. And when he needed them to go to bat for him, they didn't, because he'd spent years teaching them that the truth was optional. On the flip side, I've seen leaders build fanatical loyalty by doing the opposite. One CEO I know has a rule. We never lie to each other, even when it's uncomfortable. A client asks if the product is ready. It's not. The easy move is to say it's almost done. He says, no, we're 2 weeks out, and here's why. He loses some deals, but the clients who stay trust him completely. And his team would run through walls for him because they know he'll never throw them under the bus or ask them to compromise their integrity. That's the long game. Micro-integrity builds trust. Trust builds loyalty. Loyalty builds the kind of relationships and teams that can weather anything. Now, here's the truth about behavior change that most people miss. You can have all the integrity in the world, but if you're rewarding the wrong things in yourself and others, you'll never get the results you want. Fourth, reward initiative over outcome. A junior employee once built an entire client pitch while the senior team was on vacation. The company lost the business. His boss promoted him 2 levels, not for winning, for stepping up. That sounds crazy until you understand how behavior change actually works. Outcomes are often outside your control. You can do everything right and still lose the deal, the game, the opportunity. But initiative is always in your control. And if you only reward outcomes, you teach people to play it safe, to wait for permission, to avoid risk. Because why would they stick their neck out if failure means punishment? The military figured this out decades ago. They grade leaders on behaviors, not results. Because good leaders sometimes fail, and bad leaders sometimes succeed by luck. What matters is whether you're consistently showing the right behaviors. Are you taking ownership? Are you communicating clearly? Are you developing your people? If yes, you're a good leader even if the mission failed. If no, you're a bad leader even if the mission succeeded. The same principle applies to your personal life. If you only celebrate yourself when you hit the goal, you'll quit when progress is slow. But if you celebrate the fact that you showed up, that you tried, that you took initiative even when it was hard, you'll keep going. And that consistency is what eventually produces the outcome. Think about fitness. If you only feel good about yourself when the scale moves, you'll hate the process. But if you celebrate the fact that you went to the gym, that you chose the healthier meal, that you're building the identity of someone who takes care of their body, the scale becomes a side effect. Same with relationships. If you only feel like a good partner when your partner is happy, you'll be constantly anxious. But if you celebrate the fact that you listened, that you showed up, that you're consistently trying to be better, the relationship becomes stronger over time. Reward the behaviors that lead to the outcome, not just the outcome itself. That's how you build systems that last. And here's where it all comes together. All 4 of these habits, finding your why, watching your narratives, guarding micro-integrity, rewarding initiative, are really just different expressions of the same principle. Consistency beats intensity. The small, boring choices compound. You don't build a beautiful life in a day. You build it in 1,000 invisible moments where you choose the harder right over the easier wrong. Where you pause the game, bring the drink, tell the truth, show up. Ask what's going on instead of saying pick it up. That's not motivational poster material, but it's what actually builds trust, love, respect, and a life you're proud of. When you combine all 5 principles, here's what happens. Finding your why gives you direction. It's your compass. Watching your narratives keeps you humble. It prevents you from writing people off too quickly. Guarding micro-integrity builds trust. It sets the standard for your environment. Rewarding initiative creates momentum. It teaches you and others to keep showing up. And practicing daily consistency turns all of it into a system that runs on autopilot. This is how you build a life that doesn't just look good on the outside but feels good on the inside. Not because you had one breakthrough moment, but because you stacked enough tiny wins that eventually you looked up and realized, I'm not the same person I was a year ago. And the best part? You can start today. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect circumstances. You just need to make the next small choice in the direction of the person you want to become. Drop a comment. Which of these 5 habits resonates most with you? Number 1, find your why. Number 2, watch your narratives. Number 3, guard micro-integrity. Number 4, reward initiative. Or number 5, practice daily consistency. And here's the deeper question. What's one tiny thing you've been doing consistently that's quietly building your life right now? Well, that's it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you found it helpful, please be sure to give it a like and maybe even subscribe to Deeper Dudes. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. It all helps the channel more than you know, and it also tells us that we should make more content like this. We post videos every other day that tackle real challenges men face. Remember, struggling doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. The fact that you took time to watch this means you're ready for something better. Thanks again for watching and for checking out all the amazing products in the description below. They could jumpstart your healing journey. Catch you in the next one. Deeper Dudes. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, keep thriving.